Hello and welcome, dear viewers, to a new edition of Business Insider. President Al-Sisi has met with Prime Minister Madbouli and Minister of Transport, Lieutenant General Kamil Al-Wazir, advisor to the President for Urban Planning, Major General Amir Sayyid Ahmed, and Chairman of the Engineering Authority of the Armed Forces, Major General Hisham Swayfi. The spokesman for the presidency said that this week's meeting followed up on a number of Ministry of Transport projects. Lieutenant General Al-Wazir reviewed efforts to develop the different aspects of the railway system nationwide, particularly progress in the construction of the first line of the high-speed electric train network, Ain al-Sukhna, Al-Alamein, Marsa Matruh. The railway system extends for 660 kilometers with 150 companies involved, national companies, and 100,000 men and women working in the various specialities in the projects. The meeting also tackled the establishment, the progress in the establishment of the new Bashtil railway station, and also progress in a number of roads and axes nationwide, particularly the roads and axes network between Delta governorates and cities, as well as international coastal roads that extend from Port Said to As-Saloom. His Excellency the President gave directives to promptly complete all works in the Delta Road and network this year, given its importance as a major lifeline for development, serving citizens in the governorate, cities and surrounding villages. This came as also this week the President directed the start of cooperation with the global Maersk Group to establish an integrated national network in Egypt to produce and distribute green energy and clean fuels for ships based on new and renewable energy sources. Egypt, of course, very keen on diversifying its energy sources and on combating global warming and on preserving our climate and having environmentally friendly industries, as Egypt is preparing to host COP27 in the City of Peace in Sharm el-Sheikh this November. We'll be talking mega infrastructure projects, especially in the roads projects, the transportation projects, and we'll be talking about their role on achieving Egypt's vision for sustainable development. And we have the great pleasure of having with us in the studio Dr. Mostafa Wali, and engineer Dr. Wali is the member of the Egyptian European Business Council and also the former General Manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries. Very good evening to you, Dr. Wali. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. The same with me.
Engineer Wali, the roads, the transportation projects, how important are they indeed to achieving Egypt's vision for sustainable development?
Frankly speaking, yani, when we address these issues, then we are addressing the core of progress. It was always, and by time, it showed more importance to have the best of all of this. Number one, when it comes to the core of the development, is facilitating availability of energy. Second, altogether, you should have a very reliable, strong, smooth arteries to connect your area as a country. When you have this, a lot of things can come by itself, especially this is a great nation, has its history, and with all the achievement of its people across the history, then when you have this, you need this. We were in need for this, badly need for this. And allow me to talk, even if it was, personal. Frankly speaking, I noticed this since I was just too young, even, when I was secondary school, and then when I joined the university and just reading, and then later on so seeing the world. My belief and my favorite talk or discussion with colleagues at that time or that age was the most important thing is to have construction and in general, in the sense, and energy, because I felt it, especially when I started to study engineering. I'm telling you this because this should be first of all, our main target to develop our country. Nothing can be done other than this as a core. I'm talking about the core. And meanwhile, we should, with the progress which we will achieve in any of these categories, the energy, the road construction, the expansion in the green areas, cultivable areas, then you are maintaining the consistency of a real viable and developing country.
Indeed.
That's my understanding. Indeed. I wanted to make it in this way because it is true. All what I want, in personal basis, again, or that our Egyptian people, especially the youth, must know the importance of what we are talking about, the importance of what's gone on the ground. And just a little comparison, let them feel how much was done in a record time, in a time record of achievement. That's my real belief. I'm not talking, of kind of sentiment. It's true. It's on the ground. And no other way will make Egypt as the real Egypt we are looking for it other than having this to the best we can.
We will discuss this in detail, Dr. Wali, dear viewers. But allow us first to watch a report prepared by our dear colleagues Rasha Abdelhamid and Abi Hussein on the topic. Please stay with us.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi met lately with Prime Minister Mostafa Madbouli, Minister of Transport Kamel El-Wazir, Advisor to the President for Urban Planning, Major General Amir Said Ahmed, and Chairman of the Engineering Authority of the Armed Forces, Major General Hisham El-Suwaifi. The meeting followed up on a number of Ministry of Transport projects. Minister El-Wazir reviewed efforts to develop the different aspects of the railway system nationwide, particularly progress in the construction of the first line of the high-speed electric train network Ain al-Sokhna El-Alamin Marsa Matruh. The railway system extends for a 660 kilometer with 150 companies involved in its construction and a 100,000 strong workforce in various specialities. The minister gave an overview of the latest developments in the cooperation with the German group Deutsche Bahn to manage and operate the electric high-speed train with its 3 lines. Deutsche Bahn is expected to establish a national company named Deutsche Bahn Egypt, while the German group will transfer expertise through training and qualifying Egyptian calibers of engineers and technicians at the group's headquarters and centers in Germany. The meeting tackled progress in the establishment of the new Bashtil railway station in line with the highest international standards, which will contribute to upgrading the services delivered to commuters of Upper Egypt trains. The meeting also touched on ongoing efforts to upgrade the railway fleet, particularly new tractors and modernizing old ones. The Minister of Transport offered an overview of work progress in a number of roads and access nationwide, particularly the roads and access network between Delta governorates and cities, as well as the international coastal road that extends from Port Said to As-Saloum. President el-Sisi gave his directives to promptly complete all works in the Delta Road network this year, given its importance as a major lifeline for development, serving citizens in the governorate cities and the surrounding villages. This is also due to its vital contributions to the development process, the facilitation of trade and linking urban, industrial and agriculture communities. This network also plays a key role in enhancing the citizens' movement and shortening travel time among Delta governorates, in line and integration with the Decent Life Initiative to develop the Egyptian countryside. The discussions also tackled the ongoing development process of port system nationwide, particularly with regard to work progress others in the Great Alexandria Port projects, which include El Dakhila Port and New El Max Port, including cargo yards, containers, and the logistics system for the port and sea berths.
Welcome back, dear viewers. So, Dr. Wali, we have roads projects, we have railway projects, and we also have port projects. Let's talk about each one of them. And the energy, which you talked about, is involved in all three. I mean, in transportation, you need energy. So when we say that we are trying to diversify our energy sources and use environmentally friendly and renewable energy in our transportation modes, then that certainly serves development and serves the United Nations goals and the countries and the nation's goals itself. So the roads projects. I mean, the president stressing that he wants the Delta roads finished promptly. This serves the citizens, it enhances the quality of life, it facilitates trade, getting commodities or agricultural goods, and so, I mean, it serves in, it provides job opportunities. So the importance of that, the roads network, first of all.
It's very interesting what you sir, you're talking about right now. You mentioned that, you know, making things easier. The most important thing is easier and faster.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I was meeting a friend of mine who has his business also in 10th of Ramadan, but he has a lot of goods coming from the airport or the seaport in Alexandria. And he was giving, he is a very practical man, and he is calculating everything. He told me, it is just for the last few weeks, he could have let's say, two turns of this shipment from Alexandria to 10th of Ramadan twice a day, I mean, for 24 hours. Before, it could have taken one more day because of the congestion, because of the heavy traffic, because a lot of things, you know. So, if you look at the effect,
that's four times faster.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, especially sometimes if it's one time faster, this has a lot of repercussions, positive repercussions on the whole business. Because at least you see how things will move, and then your turnover. I'm just giving this example because it's very tangible. It's true. People can say it. I'm talking about this essential thing when it comes to roads. What is more important also about roads, it proved that when you have the right road, construction-wise, you know, engineering-wise, I mean, when it comes to layouting, when it comes to protection, with all that, what's called international standards.
You lessen accidents, you minimize accidents, and you save lives.
You are actually increasing without any additional cost, increasing the benefit. Most important of them, the loss of life, you know, or minimizing the road accidents, you know,
yes.
which is of course very important. That we have to have this in consideration. And actually, when you go to see now how many lanes we have, for example, in Suez Road, we're talking here in Cairo. Look on the other side in the east, you know, for example, or in the west. It's fantastic. The volume, I mean, the volume, and let's say exactly the terminology. The area where it is the distance with the width. If you take these areas of roads, this is tremendous. This to be done or to be completed to the best available standards. You know, we are trying the best always. It means something never have been dreamt of. So again, road is great thing. You know, you look at Europe, look at the connectivity. May I tell you something very important, you know?
Yes.
Again about roads, because the road actually will always be in the bottom line of the infrastructure. For example, in the States, just after the Second World War, then it is 1953, I read this myself long ago. And there was a kind of, a kind of revolution in the magnitude and the diversity and the lengths of the roads which were built between the states. And it was a kind of, big master plan, to have the whole state in connectivity to the best available that time. The highest, the widest road possible, the safest road possible. I read this article this long ago. It's a fact. You can go into history, you'll find this. 1953. So, which means that time, the states was not that interconnected as the USA from east to west and south north.
So this is where development usually starts. I mean, over the course of history, the mega projects, and especially the infrastructure projects, and especially those that have to do with roads and connectivity.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Now, let's talk about the railway system. I mean, there is an agreement now with the German group Deutsche Bahn to manage and operate the electric high-speed train with its 3 lines, and it's expected to establish a national company named Deutsche Bahn Egypt. The Germans, of course, will transfer expertise through training and qualifying Egyptian calibers of engineers and technicians at the group's headquarters in Germany. And so, I mean, the railway system also, we have this high-speed train, we have the monorail, working on the monorail, we have the LRT, the LTR, the light rail road. So talk to us about also a revolution in a sense in this area. And should make people's lives, I mean, easier. I mean, movement should be easier. It should be less costly. They should be saving. It should be safer.
If we take first of all the mega project, this fantastic 3 lines, which will have Egypt as. By the way, I read that it could be. I want to make sure that we could be maybe the 3rd or the 6th largest or longest, electric rail lines in the world now, having this to be finished. Because as you were just mentioning in the beginning, this Matruh, Amin Alamein,
660 kilometers.
60, and then you look about 1,000 plus from 6th of October to Aswan, and even beyond Aswan. And then, of course, from Hurghada to from Hurghada to Luxor. You see, even the policies and the intelligence behind, choosing or the choice to have such projects and because it's very expensive. It's a real hell of work, when it comes to engineering, to labor force, to cost. But its effect is tremendous, yes, especially when you know why you are choosing this. Look at any of these 3 lines. Inshallah, when they are finished, it will be different Egypt, honestly. Because people would like, generally, people would like to use the trains to go and finish their jobs, even, if they can afford by car. But why? If they can have a safer and
it's more comfortable, probably.
Plus, yes,
they can sleep.
Exactly.
In their journey.
Look, you can fly, you can drive. I mean, this high speed. You can go up to 260 kilometers per hour. That's fantastic. You can't have a car. You cannot be safe in a car driving this, even in the high.
You mentioned the huge labor force, and I guess this is something good because this employs tens of thousands of people who need jobs. So, I mean, the projection is that 100,000 will be working in these projects, and 150 national companies. So talk to us about that specific point, Dr. Wali, and how important is it from the investment point of view?
Let's take it from the investment point of view. We will have many partners who will be actually ready. Now already the whole project is now taken care of, or in cooperation with one of the biggest names in the international let's say, railroads, you know, when you talk Deutsche Bahn.
Yeah.
That's great. Look even at the railroads in Germany. It's fantastic, really. One of the best. Nobody can deny
Sure.
this. And meanwhile, when you have this, then you are offering these jobs. The most important is not only just the job of having to build the road, and then you have the railroad line, and then you have the trains itself.
There's maintenance after that.
It's you are building, you know, side by side. Unbelievable expertise and unbelievable experience and knowledge about the latest technology. This in itself a real learning process, you know, and valuable process. You take it while you are there at the shop, whether you are a young man just a graduate, or you are an old guy who knows the business, or just, you know, just labor. But it's fantastic.
And you're probably building new communities along
Absolutely.
the lines?
Absolutely. It goes without, you know. It's normal, you know, it's normal. The history even of some of countries around us, not here, I mean,
Yes.
in South Europe, you know,
Yes.
this happened, you know.
So, and now the port system also is very important. There is great development in the port system in Egypt, and there is progress now in the Great Alexandria Port projects, which included Dkhela. And the new Al Maks port, including cargo yards, containers, and logistics systems for the port and sea berths. So how do you see that? I mean, the work, especially in Alexandria at the moment.
Fantastic. If most of these, you know, suburbs, you know, of Alexandria, you see they are in the west side of the coast. You know, you're going through this. They are so tangent together. You cannot connect before. Now, if you can have them, then you are widening your capacity of harboring, you know, or you know, let's say, all the business of the seaports. I mean, loading, unloading, you know, and storage. This in itself is something very, very, very profitable to you, because you can maintain, you can receive as much cargo as you need. You can store, you can deliver immediately. But again, if we don't have the right roads which will help to have this inland, then...
So it's all an integrated system,
We passed by this, I can remember, you know, some 40 years ago, you know, there was a congestion in Alexandria in the demurrage, you know, they call it demurrage, in the ports, you know, with fines and problems. And by the time we increased a bit, now with our increase in population, now we are 109 or 107. You see the importance?
The start of the cooperation with the Global Myers Group is also an important milestone, Dr. Wali, and the goal is to establish an integrated national network in Egypt to produce and distribute green energy. We'll get to the energy part of the equation now, and clean fuels for ships based on new and renewable energy sources. His Excellency, the President's directives came, you know, on the start of the cooperation with Myers during his meeting in Cairo with Myers CEO Soren Skoo, who reviewed a project to produce clean fuel for ships in Egypt with investments of up to $15 billion, and that too should provide more than 100,000 job opportunities according to estimates.
Well, with these figures and this news, inshallah, to be materialized on the ground by time according to the schedule, we could be the first. I'm telling you this because this is the latest in the energy field at large. We are talking green hydrogen. If we will get into this and with these figures, then we could be one of the pioneers in this area of green hydrogen. And when you say green hydrogen, you are talking about the cleanest energy, because you can have hydrogen to have it as fuel. But you can get it either from a clean energy, which in this case will be solar energy or wind energy, or gray. You can say gray or blue,
Yeah.
because it means that you can use the gas in this case, and then again there is carbon dioxide already. There will be emission. So maybe because we can have we can have our actually ranking, high ranking in producing and generating clean energy. Let's say the wind and the solar. We could be of a very good.
Sure, we have the potential.
Yes,
I mean,
and that we can reach it immediately, and you know, because already we have in Bimban one of the biggest plants in the world, you know. So in this case, I hope, because we will be actually leaders in this case.
Egypt, indeed, Dr. Wali, has recently adopted a vision to be a global and regional hub for green hydrogen.
Yes.
As you said, the production, the storage, and the export. There's been a signing last month, late August actually, of 7 memoranda of understandings, MOUs, to establish industrial complexes to produce green hydrogen in the Ain al-Sukhna industrial zone, which is located, of course, within the Suez Canal economic zone.
Yes.
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 And so Egypt is preparing to host COP27. Surely that such projects, such plans, such a vision should serve such a summit, or should prove to the world that Egypt is serious about, you know, combating global warming and fighting climate change, and trying to play a leading role globally in that regard.
Yes, yes. We are now in the process of preparation, you know, even maybe around to be in the last phase of preparation. I'm optimistic, very optimistic, to the limit of being sure that it will be a success story for us. I mean, a successful, very successful international meeting. Let's hope that some international, you know, alarming situations will be cooled off, and then things will be okay. Still, we have some time for this, and this will happen. Just to have Egypt, honestly, just to have Egypt as the host for Africa in Sharm el-Sheikh, and immediately after COP26 in Glasgow, this is something. I mean, it was unanimously we were chosen to have this. You know, this shows that those who are keen about this kind of business, I mean, the cleaner energy, or you know, the climate change, all these issues, you know, aware of the keenness of the Egyptian government, Egyptian leadership, to have role of this. And on the ground, we proved for some good limit that we are serious about this. We can do it. Yes, we can, in the sense that we can have in the south of Egypt, in Aswan, this fantastic and very big power plant, you know, one of the biggest in the world.
Yes.
I mean, solar energy.
Yes.
This in itself is very, very promising. The only thing that, let's hope that those who always, as it is always, you know, they are the reason of the problems, and also they are the richest who can solve the problem. I'm talking specifically about USA and China, and maybe in India in a sense. But if we talk about these two people, these two nations, you know, continents actually, they are responsible about more than 40%, 25%, 20 plus, you know, of the full pollution,
carbon emissions
of the emission, and it's pollution. It's immediately now it's a pollution, and they have to, so they have to share in solving these problems, which is coming from their. You know, they are the factories of the world. China especially is the factory of the world. I hope there was assignment for 100 billion some years ago, you know, and it never was materialized. You know, we have even some people who are Egyptian who are taking care of, taking good role a very important role in having this COP27. Huh? They say it. They know the story. They are keen about, you know, they are knowledgeable about what they are talking about. They talk this way. The 100 billion which should have been assigned before, now it will only represent about 4% of what should be spent to be serious in solving the problem of the climate change.
So, as we are drawing close to the end of the episode, Dr. Wali, again, how do mega, this is how we started, and this is
Yes.
how we would like to end.
Yes.
How do we put all of this together? I mean, the mega transportation projects, they serve development. And especially if we use in the transportation modes clean or cleaner energy as much as we can, how would all of this help the economy, create jobs, attract more investments, and help Egypt's vision for sustainable development?
Simply, you are proving that you can and you are committed to achieve the goals of the United Nations, the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Especially after we finish, at least let's talk about the first line, you know, this 6. Now you have the first in North Africa, in Africa now it could be, this is the first and the longest electric lines, high-speed electric railroad line. That's in itself is showing we will be pioneer. Then the effect of having the experience of being successful in achieving this will set an example and will let everybody in the area, when the things will develop, that okay, it will be a must that we have to care for the environment. So anything related to it in Africa or in the Middle East, we can have our role, even on the expertise level, which is also very important.
Of course, of course. And Egypt, by the way, in COP27 will be speaking not only on behalf of itself, but on
Africa
behalf of
too.
Africa.
Yes, 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 yes.
And we remember very well that when Egypt held the rotating presidency of the African Union, it played a leading role, and it promised that it will not relinquish its role after ceding the rotating presidency. And this is what's happening indeed on the ground. Egypt speaking on behalf of Africa, and this is what will happen in COP27, of course, in the city of peace in Sharm el-Sheikh in November. Dear viewers, that is all for this episode of Business Insider. We talked about the mega transportation projects and how important they are to achieving sustainable development in Egypt, and how important is it that we use as much clean energy as we can in that regard. And we did this in the company of our dear guests here in the studio, Dr. Mostafa Wali, an engineer. Dr. Wali is a member of the Egyptian European Business Council and also the former general manager of the Egyptian Federation of Industries. We thank you very much, Dr. Wali. It's always a great pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much for having me today, and it's always a real pleasure for me.
Thank you, Engineer Dr. Wali, and thank you very much, dear viewers, for watching us. Next week, same time, is a new edition of Business Insider. Please stay with Nile TV International. Until then, it's goodbye.